Bum-ba-da-dum, Banjo Ben, your host here at banjobenclark.com, your home for learning how to play banjo and mandolin. But this week is Guitar Week. I was thinking a lot about the cross this week. I do every week, but a lot on it this week. I teach Sunday school at my church, and we're approaching Easter. And then I had a request to teach a fingerstyle hymn. So I thought, well, let's just combine these two wonderful things. So we're going to learn a couple solos to this wonderful old hymn, The Old Rugged Cross. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, here in a moment, I'll ask you to come over to the website, banjobenclark.com. You can join as a Gold Peak member, have access to this lesson, hundreds of others, hundreds. And I have a lot of fingerstyle songs over there as well. It's not all just flat picking. Both are really good. This lesson is about 30 minutes long. I have the tab for both solos, exactly like I played it. I also have an MP3 solo track that you can download. We'll play it through fast, we'll play it through slow. I'll tell you how to do everything. It's good. Let's jump right into the first solo for The Old Rugged Cross. Let's have some fun with this one, y'all. Let's cover some basic things before we jump into the two solos. First thing is, it's a waltz. It's got 3 beats per measure. On a hill, far away, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. So it's got that waltz feel, and we're going to use that to our advantage to play some really pretty stuff. The next thing is that it's in the key of C, and there's lots of substitute chords that you could throw into this song, but we're going to keep it pretty straightforward. I wanted to give you a couple playable solos, and we'll talk about how to make them more robust as we go through it. But we're going to have a C chord, we're going to have an F chord. We're not even going to play our bar F. We're just going to play our regular F here. We're going to have a G chord, and we're going to play it a couple different ways. I'll talk to you about that. We are going to have one substitute chord, one that's really pretty, a D minor. And I'll show you how to use that. Now, as far as fingering goes, we've got on my right hand, maybe you're left-handed, but my right hand is going to pick the strings. I'm going to do it like a banjo, my first 3 strings. So thumb, index, middle, and I'm going to lightly anchor with my pinky, although it'll come up off the guitar sometimes whenever I'm pinching those strings. Let's go ahead and throw up the first line of tab. We've got 4 bars of an intro here that kind of sets the mood of the song. I want you to notice that beneath each one of the notes, those little circles, those are our pick finger indications. So that's how I would normally play the song. And it's going slow enough, you can decide what fingers you want to play, but those are suggestions the way that I do it. And of course we have the chords above the tab there. Now we're going to spend this intro trying to accomplish something. I want to establish the tempo. I want to establish the mood and the feel. And I also want to establish, me personally, a recurring lick or a recurring idea that's going to rise up throughout the song and kind of peek its head out. And so it's going to sound like this. And you'll hear that or variations of that throughout the song. I think that's really fun to do because it creates some continuity throughout the song. We don't just have a lot of licks, we have a movement happening. So we're going to start with our basic C chord, and we're going to start with a pinch there. We want to try to play those pinches very strong. You don't want one a whole lot louder, one note a lot louder than the others. And I want you to, at the very last note of that measure, lift your index finger, and that's going to unmask that open second string. We want it to ring out. And then we're going to play that bass note with our ring finger down here. And our pinky is just going to come up and cover that 3rd fret. But I don't want us to fret it until right before we're going to play it so that we have notes, ringing out. It sounds like this. Repeat it in measure 3 and 4. Then we've got our pickup notes here at the end of measure 4. That starts the melody to the first solo's verse. On a hill. When we get to measure 5, we start this first verse, and we've got some, even though the song's not going super fast, we're going to have to move kind of quickly with our right and left hands. Far away. So I'm going to use my pinky to jump out and grab that 4th fret. And then right back into a C chord. So we're jumping out of a C chord, and then right back into it. So you're going to have to be quick. Grab that G sharp, go into your full F chord here, measure 7. And then back to it. And then I'm just going to use my middle finger to go up and grab that B flat. So this line slowly, and we'll do it much slower later on. Measure 9, we're going to go into a partial G chord, and really all that we need at first is just this bottom G covered. going to use my index to grab that. And then we're going to sneak in our ring finger measure 10. And I encourage you there in measure 10 to leave those down throughout the measure. Back to a C chord. And look at what we have here. Do you recognize that lick? You should, because that's very similar to the intro. We're using this recurring lick. So this whole line. Try to bring out your melody as you can. Okay, that'll take some practice. You might just want to learn the notes that are there first and then begin working on bringing out the melodious volume. Measure 13, got some repeating happening. We've seen this before. Seen all that, except in measure 16, instead of staying on the F chord, we're going into this D minor. Our melody note's still there on that second fret, but we're going to have a different chord in the background. So this whole line. (17). This time we're going to a G chord, and you might be used to playing a G chord with your middle finger there. It would probably be more helpful to play the ring finger in the bass so that you have more room to grab the second fret, and then also to play this pinch there, measure 18. I love that measure 18. The melody is coming down, and we're going to take the bass note and walk it up to the C chord. And then we have part of that intro lick. So this whole line. Now we're going into the chorus of this first solo, which is a lot of fun. Let's cover that, then we'll play this first solo really slowly together, and then jump into the second one as well.